self-entitled and blah blah blah, and yeah. But apparently they're way more narcissistic and everything than we are, which is it's nice to hear. But yeah, all right, let's do this, bro.
Jumping in.
Selling Scores, episode 6.
We're in it.
We're up to week 7 of our campaign for the cup. Cup 2, 4 guys, 1 cup. This week we're going to lead with the thing we often do at the end of the episode, which is not great because no one watches for more than 2.5 minutes.
Drinking habits.
Oh no, we're going to do the send us suggestions, guys.
Oh yeah, that's everything.
What we're gonna do is, I think we discussed this just briefly before, but like from now on, what we'll do on the stream, if you want to come and tune in and ask us questions, we'll respond for the first kind of half an hour, 45 minutes, depending on who's around.
Brian's and Fabian, so we'll be on at 6 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time.
And we'll just try and answer any questions you guys have. If you want to reach out to us, please feel free to do that. We're happy to put card suggestions and everything like that into the episodes. We'll talk about the cards that you suggest and everything. But if you have questions for us or questions about what we do or anything like that, feel free to get to them. We'll try and, before we stream and record, we will try to answer them questions and be involved with you guys as much as possible.
On Twitch, and we'll be Australian Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. We'll do kind of like our pre-show, and then 6:30 we kick off. So more than happy for you guys to kind of be involved as much as you care to be. Early the first time we do it.
Yeah, you'll be here so quick. This week, guys, we're drinking Cesano, which is an Italian. It's a spirit, but it has like herbs or something in it at the end there. It's got like a taste. Some people, it's not for some people. Some people can stand it. Other people. A little bit of lemonade, some lemon rind in there and stuff like that. It tastes good.
We also got beer. So what's your favourite beer? What are we looking at here? What are we working with?
In terms of genre of beer? In terms of... Like, I love Pilsners, dude. Pilsner for me is like the perfect... Like, they're generally a little higher in the alcohol content. They're very similar to a lager. In the taste and everything like that, and you can just kind of like sink them back. They're not too much to deal with, but they give you a good buzz.
Okay, I like some of the ales.
Ales are great,
ale. Stone Wood's got some good stuff. Albeit a little expensive. They're always like some of my favorites.
Have you had the Burley Brewery ale?
Burley Brewery, I've seen it, yeah. I don't think I've had
their
one.
ale's really nice.
Okay.
It's kind of pivoting a little bit more towards the pale ale, but it doesn't have the pale ale aftertaste, which is a huge bonus from where I'm coming
as well.
from.
I like some ciders, but they have a lot of sugar
ciders.
in them.
They're technically not beer though, Nick. You're cheating. I enjoy beer a lot. There's definitely beers that I'm just like that Cooper's Extra Stout.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I'm not manly enough. It's too much beer for me.
Yeah. 4X, anything like that.
No.
Mango.
Anything that comes in a can is generally not worth worrying about. There'll be a lot of hate, I think, depending on that.
What about American beer? What's that? I've always heard of the Budweisers and stuff like that.
I've had Bud. If you get Budweiser in a bottle, it's not too bad.
Okay. Is it like water as well? It's like a salsa with beer in it?
So there's a lot, like I think we pay out on the US a lot for their like lighter beers and stuff like that, but they're like around 4%.
Okay.
Especially the ones we receive. So whether or not theirs are like that, I'm not too sure. But I've had Bud, I've had the Sierra Nevada, I've had a few of the Boston lagers and stuff like that. Yeah, I've had a fair few, but they're generally pretty good. Beer. I think we've covered we've done the gambit, right?
Yeah.
Is there any? Oh, let's do this, dude. Favorite import beer.
Okay. Favorite import. They got the Asahi. I think it's the Asahi, the Japanese. They got some pretty funky stuff.
Their Sapporo order is pretty good as well. Have you ever had Lucky beer?
No.
It's a Chinese beer, and it comes. All the bottles are in the shape of a Buddha.
Oh, awesome.
It's actually really good. Sing Teo is another one, another Chinese beer. It's really good.
Talking about imports, I've had the it's like sake. I believe it's called soju.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of like it's got like a thick consistency. You can get it from like fruit flavors, but it's kind of like a sake with like fruits in it.
Oh, okay, cool.
It's pretty nice.
I don't think I've ever had sake, bro. That's probably.
I've had it once when I went to a all you can eat hotspot. Hot pot, which is awesome.
Yeah, like a teppanyaki. Oh, yeah. Is that more... This is maybe culturally insensitive. Is that more of a Chinese thing, typically, the hot pot?
It's a Korean thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've definitely had Chinese hot pot before.
Yeah. The one I went to was a Korean thing. It was
really
okay,
cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you order like a base.
Yep.
And you can get like miso or like tom yum or like miso.
Tom yum,
and then you order like all your sides, so like fucking all these nice meats. It's in, and then you just like chuck them in.
Chuck them in, dude.
And then you
pots in the middle.
There's ways you can do it. There's some mastery to it. The ways you chuck in like the order you want to chuck stuff in, and like how it makes the soup at the end.
Yeah,
but it's rad.
Yeah, I like the idea of a hot pot because it's it's one of the few meals that's like super communal.
Yeah,
like everyone's contributing a little bit to it, which is nice. All right. Speaking of cultures and the like, favorite tribe in Magic.
Oh, in Magic. Okay. I was going to name some of those. The Zingali. Shit, my mic.
The Zulus.
The Zulus. I like the clicks.
What's there's like obviously the Comanches, the Apaches, like the awesome Native American tribes.
Yeah.
I don't know technically if you could call like the Incans or the Aztecs a tribe. I think they were more of an entire group.
It was like a group of people hanging out.
Yeah.
I love the Aztecs. They're dope. And the Incans.
Yeah, dude. I
love the Spanish Inquisition.
I watched a video the other day.
I don't love it, but it is hilarious how much of an asshole they were in their writing. It's like
Cortez.
Yeah. Like, these are dirty people drinking and eating dirty things. They suck. And it's like just shitting on them constantly.
Did you see? I watched a video the other day on the Aztec capital that held like 250,000 people.
Wow.
It had like floating gardens and like all this crazy stuff. And the Spanish had this real dichotomy issue where they got there because they thought that they were uncivilized, that they were savages, etc., etc. And then they got to this city, dude, and they were just like blown away because like it was bigger than any city in Europe at the time.
Wow.
So the Spanish just were just like gobsmacked that these people had kind of constructed this entire civilization the way they had. And then they were like super in awe, and then they got to the center of the town where they did all the human sacrifices, and they're like, fuck these people. They took the king's son like hostage immediately and then like created a huge coup, and it was a disgrace. But
the channel, the Tasting History with Max.
Oh yeah,
he's got the chocolate video.
They
took with the Aztecs, and it gives you a little insight to like how they were perceiving them. Like they're drinking brown gross water. I hate it. And like the way
3 years later,
the way they write the history, like it's hard to determine like what was actually going on because of the bias that was present.
Yeah.
It was hard to determine like what the food was actually like, what the people were actually like because of the way they were being described and portrayed.
Yeah. They've got some. The fascinating thing is it only happened 500 years ago, in a sense. So they've actually still got some kind of, not necessarily first-hand accounts, but they've still got some really great information from the Aztec side and stuff like that, which is probably not as mainstream, but definitely it does. Little bits and pieces exist, which is nice. So you can still kind of get some stuff out of it. But we've diverged. We've diverged quite a bit, Nick. Favorite tribe of Magic?
Oh, favorite tribe. It's probably my love-hate with oozes.
Yeah?
I have an ooze deck and it sucks.
Dude, the D&D set will surely shore it up a little bit.
There seems to be some... I have a popular theory that there is a guy working in Magic who's making an ooze set. One ooze card every set.
Every set, yeah.
He did skimp out on Kaldheim. But other than we didn't get.
None at all.
Oh, no, sorry.
There was one.
Strixhaven,
yeah. It's a school of mages. That kind of makes sense.
Well,
Gardaroos, though, there was room. There's always room for ooze.
There was also like giant Eldrazi gods in there as well. So
yeah, that's true. Yeah,
that makes no sense.
Well,
how's that thing?
At least oozes get representation constantly. Fairies?
One card. Fairies get... Like, when they get it, though.
Well, yeah, but when they're part of the theme, they are pretty heavily represented, but a lot of the time, they're kind of a little light on.
Zendikar, we had one. I think we had Oran Refuse.
Oran Refuse from Zendikar,
Commander Legends, we had one. We had the... It's
All
that
Ingesting, or...
Yeah, All Ingesting is the one with the 1/1s, just a shit ton of 1/1s.
Yeah.
Kaldheim, we had... I think I completely forgot what I got.
Yeah, it was there was one there.
Another one in Kaldheim.
Another green one,
Mixed out one Strixhaven. And then we got another one, Modern Horizons 2.
Yes.
Which was the... it's another mono green one.
And then surely with the D&D set, we'll get classic gelatinous ooze.
Just hope... Oh, gelatinous... that's a gelatinous cube, but yeah, it is
Yeah. Yeah, and the rust one. that can like destroy all artifacts or equipment. That'd be kind of cool. Like
I'm hoping we do because in D&D terms, oozes are usually immune to criticals and they have a lot of immunities. So hopefully we get something like that.
Actually, seeing some like damage reduction would kind of be fun. Not having to tap for it or something.
I really need a new commander. I need
the mimeoplasm. It's not working.
He forces you to kind of, forced me in a way to kind of build. I have to murder a lot of things, so I get things in the graveyard. Because I had him as a commander, and just nothing was getting in the graveyard.
Yeah.
It's a rough tribal.
Yeah. I think.
What's yours?
I really liked elves when I started playing, but then I think that's just because it was something familiar. Fairies are really cool just because I think fairies are a lot of fun.
Yeah, you've got some fairies here, which
I've got a couple of fairies. Yeah. I might flash a few of them up, but we could probably like just.
There goes the fairies. They say they can fly.
And I have the secret lair one came in today as well, which is.
Oh, you didn't show me the secret lair.
I'll have to show you afterwards. But
and now it's wonky.
Dude, these cases, I'm not as happy as I thought I was going to be with them. They're
I dropped mine
painful.
once because it came off the wall and all the cards are just like, eh.
Yeah. So I kind of like fairies, but it's very hard to make a deck around fairies. I like merfolk as well. I've made a couple of merfolk deck.
Great, yeah.
Got the commander at heart. The professor at heart when it comes to merfolk. Being the merfolk representative of the world.
I think they just got a big bump. Well, not a big bump, but they did get some cards from Run Horizons too.
Yeah, they kind of seem to always sneak. It's very uncommon to not have a single merfolk. All right, what kind of decks do you love or hate to play against? We kind of covered decks that we like to play last week, but what about...
Play against? I think probably like decks with strong graveyard recursion can be frustrating because it's like it's never truly gone and they have to
unless you exile it. Yeah.
And then you got to reach over the table, just like logistically you have to reach over the table and be like, what have you got in your graveyard? Show me what you got.
Show me. Don't try and hide it 4 down from the top.
And it's just like things just keep coming back and it just like it adds another element. But it's a cool thing that it's just rough. But
it can be problematic.
Yeah, definitely. And I did get milled. I did get fully milled last game, and that was rough as well.
That was rough. I don't like mill, so that kind of ties.
It's only
going
to get worse because he's changing his commander once the season's over.
Yeah,
have you seen what he's changing it to?
No, I don't even want to think about it. This is the one that doubles them all, right?
Yeah. So any mill, you mill twice. So
yeah.
I think Manding Cacophony would maybe instant kill the whole table.
No, because it'd be half and then half of the half. So you know, with a quarter left.
But still,
it's a lot. 75% of your deck gone. I think I don't know, dude. I don't think there's anything. There's definitely commanders that I sit down where I'm just like, oh, this is going to be like a rough game if I don't have the right answers. But I don't think there's a particular style that's ever really bothered me too much. Generally, let's put it this way. As long as I get a chance to do what my deck's supposed to do,
so probably
then I'm pretty happy.
I think we've been lucky enough to not be exposed to the tax. A lot of the tax and the
like stacks
effects that maybe some other tables are pervasive with.
Stacks is one of them things where it's like it doesn't seem like it's not always preventing you from doing what you want to do. You just have to work around it a lot harder.
Imagine Winter Orb at a table though.
Yeah,
you're not doing anything.
Yeah, that's true.
I just think we probably haven't had any real experience with Stack there.
Let's leave it at that.
I would just stare at them and say, "Why have you done this?"
I'd run my counter deck. Try and counter everything they do. What's new this week? We're up to session 7. Session 7. I'm editing episode 8 right now.
Okay.
It will be up shortly.
What episode did we choose for that?
The one that Brian ended up winning, I think. It's the one that I get knocked out like almost immediately by Fabian. Then you get knocked out a couple of turns later, and then Brian and Fabian duke it out.
So not my Strixhaven turn 6 win.
No, because the 2 extra cameras weren't recording. Remember?
I love that one.
Yeah. It would have been like a 15-minute game. And it would have been great to show Prismari smashing through as well. How do you feel about the season so far? We're kind of getting towards the tail end. Yeah, 2 sessions to go.
I'm catching up. I think just Brian, he keeps catching up with me, so we're just kind of all moving at the same.
It's really funny because like there was a gap where me and Fabian somehow had kind of managed to kind of get clear by 10 or 12 points.
Like go hard at the start. It's really helpful.
But now I think everyone's within 6 points of each other, so it's really tight. I'm
going to try to just pull ahead with the Prismari.
Yeah, okay,
as much as
get them bonus points.
Yeah, What about you?
So
I think I'm in the. I'm going to try to pull in the lead because I'm tied with Brian Z almost for the pre-con points.
Yes, yeah.
Which either the person who wins the most of the pre-constructed decks from the Strixhaven set will get 10
bonus
points.
10 points.
And then we have
whoever gets the most net points over the season. Yeah.
And then we have another 10 points for the
challenge
constructed challenge decks we gave each other.
Yeah.
Was given a commander to each other.
Yeah, that you had to build a deck around.
A black deck, and you've been playing that a lot.
I've been playing it a lot, specifically with the aim of scooping them points up. I don't win very often at all. I've won 1 game so far out of about 8 sessions in. And we've played roughly 4 games a session, so 24.
I think this season's been a bit slower, so around 3 to 4
32 games roughly, and I've won 1.
Why, Nick? Why? How does this keep happening?
I don't know.
I was tempted to almost be like, should I let Nick win? And then Brian was like, fuck you. And I was like, all right, fuck this guy. What's happening, buddy?
I was thinking about the games we had like the other night. So you cleaned up the first game.
Yes, my best game I think I've ever had.
Yeah, it was.
Had Braid of Fire out turn 2. No one got rid of it. By turn 6, I generated 4 mana on top of I was getting land drops every turn. So I had 4 plus Soul Ring plus another mana rock. By the end of the total, I had enough to crackle a power with X being 4. So I had 4, 8, 12.
Yeah.
13, 14 mana to just pump into Crackle with Power.
Yeah.
I had extra mana as well, so I spent 2 to copy it. I had Ray out. I had a Planeswalker out, so
you're able to copy the
my next
Crackle with Power.
Sorcery. Paid 4, so 4, 4, 4, and then the 2 you have to pay on top of Crackle with Power.
Yeah.
I did 20 damage to each person.
I think it's 28. 28?
No, 4 times 5.
Oh, okay.
So 4 times 5 to 4 different targets, so it would have been 20 to each person, plus another 20 on top, and then copying it.
Yeah.
So it would have been 40 to 2 people, and then 80 to 1 person.
Yeah.
And then Zaffy would have done 10 randomly, because I cast a spell with a CMC over 10.
Yeah.
Twice, yeah. So that's 10 damage twice, so that was a roughly 180 damage on turn 6.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah.
This is one of them situations where it's like, we're playing budget, we're playing casual.
Yeah.
And you still completely crushed everybody.
Yeah,
no one was able to.
It was like MVP was obviously just having the Planeswalker. It's a dark Planeswalker for that guy.
Yeah. You're running most pre-con cards. Yeah. You've probably only done
Crackle
20
Powers,
$20 of upgrades,
I believe, maybe $5.
Yeah.
Braid of Fire is a little bit more expensive. That's around a $10 card. But it's amazing, especially for the
it's a great
mana
card. If you got red, you might as well have it.
Mana generation just for if you're going to be playing X.
Yes,
and it was great. It felt good.
That's one reason I didn't win. The next game, Fabian, which will be the game that we put up for you guys, Fabian crushed through with
Braylon, the Sky Shark Rider.
So 15 points of commander damage the first time, 21 points the second attack. Yeah. So that was me out again. And
it's
then
just a Locust God deck.
I'm not going to listen. It's a fun deck to see.
Yeah.
It has its weaknesses, but we just didn't get we just didn't get the right things.
I was removing it constantly.
Yeah.
But then just no one else had any removal. Yeah. Kind of ran my life.
I did it. I just had no gas with the deck I was playing at the time.
So
dude,
honestly,
back on
track. So what's been happening?
I'd like to say
old age.
So now, what is it?
I think you get some pills for that kind of stuff or whatever.
I honestly, one of the big things I think is, and this is maybe blowing smoke up my own ass a little bit, but I think everybody knows that my decks will do dumb things if they get to a stage where I've got the board set up enough. So no one ever really lets me get there. I feel like I definitely have the spotlight turned towards me a lot once I start putting things down on the board. And then I guess, I don't know, that and a mixture of poor luck. Yeah, I'm still doing well. Like, you know, I barely lose. I think I've only lost 2 games this season as well.
Yeah, so I've been losing a lot of games this season because of just random reasons, I guess.
Random reasons starting with F.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's been a pretty fun season. I'm super excited for next season as well, just because I'm a retard and I can't focus on what I've got in front of me. I'm always looking towards the next thing. But I think that looking back on the theme points, they've been good, but they also really heavily favor certain kinds of gameplay.
Yeah, so that's been happening. Yeah. So we should kind of just take a step back and
I think we need to
make sure none of them kind of are favoring a certain style of deck.
They do to a degree. They do favor the theme.
You know what it was? Because I think it was like commander points, and we just all sort of like, hey, biggest hit, biggest creature.
Yeah.
And we realized we were quickly making
Voltrons.
Points for like commander when it first came out, which was Voltron and big armies.
Yeah.
But now it's like I have a spell slinging deck and I get no points.
Yeah, no
for
bonus
anything
points.
Because,
that's right.
I don't deal first blood with the creature. I don't make big creatures.
Like thematically, it suits the wrestling theme. Having big creatures doing big damage, hitting, like killing people with your commander, like, you know, having the lone wolf kind of thing. Like, they all fit the theme of wrestling, but it does heavily favor particular gameplay styles, which means that some people are able to scoop points more than others. So that's, you know, a bit of a weakness, but that's something we can address next season and get it a bit more balanced, I guess. But yeah, let's move on. Lost Legend, Nick.
Lost Legend of the Week.
Pushing it.
We need some theme songs, I think, eventually.
Theme music.
Yeah.
That's Fabian's department. Oh, God. He's got, we'll get that eventually, right?
6 to 8 months.
So we have
Kazarov,
Sengir Pureblood. 5 and 2, so 7. He is expensive. Mm-hmm. You're going to want your protection down before you start pulling
Get a command beacon in.
Legendary creature vampire. He is a 4/4 with flying, and it says whenever a creature an opponent controls is dealt damage, put a 1/1 on counter on the commander or this guy, the Lost Legend, and then you can pay 3 in a red and have it deal 2 damage directly to target creature.
Okay.
So it's Gruul colors.
We got Gruul.
We've got, and then it's basically like any time a creature an opponent controls takes damage, is dealt damage. Mm-hmm. So like other people's combat, burn spells, he can do it himself.
Yeah.
So basically you kind of going to want to just make him a beefcake by just hurting other people, which is like every time they bleed, you get the benefit for it. So he's kind of a fun, in these colors, he's kind of a fun commander because obviously there's infinite red.
Burn, you got the burn,
infinite red things you can do. And then the black, there's a lot of great enchantments in black that you can make him more stronger, give him lifelink, give him menace, give him,
you know, cool stuff.
And then he can swing through himself, which is a big thing. So he definitely needs protection. But like a lot of good planeswalkers, a lot of good legendaries or commanders, they all need protection. So
protect the president.
Yeah, this is one of them cards where it's kind of like I've never seen him in any deck or any deck tech or anything like that. But he seems like a pretty fun guy to build around. I think he's less than $1, nice and cheap. So definitely has some potential there for you guys to work around. But he's pretty fun, cool art. And Dominaria, I think, is the set as well. So kind of a newer one.
Yeah, it's a cool guy.
Yeah, I've seen like a lot of the more recent legends. It seems like there's these real focus on particular legends that are obviously strong. And then a lot of these guys that are still decent just kind of get forgotten about immediately, which is fascinating. But I think he could be a lot of fun to play with. Then we got next segment, Nick.
Tzu Says.
What's he say this week?
Says invincibility lies in the defense. The possibility of victory in the attack.
It's good, right?
I'm digesting it.
It's deep.
It's deep.
So
where does this guy keep making quotes from?
It's almost as if he had like his entire life and nothing to, you know, just some strategies to come up with. No, just didn't defend half of China or do any of that cool stuff. So invincibility lies in the defense. This is a big thing where it's like, if you can keep yourself in the game one way or another, keep yourself invincible, then it will lead to victory. But it's not all you need to do.
Yeah.
So the possibility of victory only lies in attack.
Yeah.
So you want to have a way of protecting yourself and protecting your board and everything like that, but you also need the pieces in play to then secure yourself.
If you can outlast the person on your right or left, your chances of winning are
gone up dramatically. Yeah. And this is like a one thing I play a lot of. Is like I go for pillow fort or politics, and basically my strategy is stay in until I'm like the second last person in, and then start doing something to try and get the victory. Because then you're hoping at that point whoever you're in there with is also whittled down a little bit, is almost a little bit compromised in some way, and then hopefully then you can start playing your cards to kind of sneak through. So basically, like, the longer you stay in the game, the better it is for you. You don't want to be just kind of blowing your load and then getting knocked out as the first person, essentially.
Like you're going for the win, and if you don't go for it, you've put enough of a target on your back that they're probably going to wipe you out. Yeah.
So, this is a good one where it's just kind of like, shore your defenses up, make sure you got something to keep yourself in the game, and then once you do, guys, that's where the W's come into it.
Underrated, undervalued, and under a buck. What do we got? Underrated.
I listened to Brinesy with his love of Mardu, and I went through and found this brutal horde chief, which is 3 and a black for a creature orc warrior. He's a 3/3. He says whenever a creature you control attacks, defending player loses a life and you gain a life. And you can pay 5, 3, and 2 hybrid red whites. Creatures your opponents control block this turn if able, and you choose how they block.
Okay.
So this is one of them kind of fun cards where it's like every time you're attacking, you're getting a benefit, a net benefit from it.
That block.
You've got a very aggro deck with the red-white, as well as a little bit of black
and
there.
You've got a lot of the same type of things in Rakdos. There's that guy, as soon as he comes out, everybody's got to attack it. Something but you.
Yeah. So in the end, and the benefit is like you choose how they block.
Yeah.
So there's a white
you can
card.
Do a lot of goading as well. Just start enchantment goading other guys' big stuff. Make them attack.
There's a card called Master or Odric Master Tactician, and he has the same kind of text.
Okay.
But basically, when it says you choose how they block, you can choose that they don't block.
Okay.
So basically, like, you can either put them all on a 1/1 with Death Touch or something like that, or you can just put them all to nothing. So essentially, like, you're making all your creatures unblockable. And unlike Rogue's Passage, which is 4, this is 5.
5 basically.
Yeah, this is 5 for all creatures, which is massive essentially. So that's a fun little card, super cheap, and I'd never seen him before, never heard of him, so thought I'd throw him in there. Undervalued, Nick, what do we got?
We got Daring Thief for 2 and a blue. They are a creature, human rogue. They have the inspired text. So whenever Daring Thief becomes untapped, you may exchange control, target non-land permanent you control, and target permanent and opponent controls that shares a card type with it.
So this is fun.
It's just some good old-fashioned fun.
It's just trickery at its best. So it inspired the way, like, I've done this with a deck recently, Freed from the Real. That enchantment's gone up quite a lot recently, but it allows you to tap and untap for a blue. This here, if you've got a blue deck and you've got what's that guy that creates the birds? Or Nadir Kraken.
Oh, the Drake. It creates the drakes, you mean? Or the birds?
There's a guy that does birds. Whenever you cast an instant sorcery, you put a 1/1 bird into play.
Oh, there's also one where it gives you a 2/2
Drakes,
Drake, as well.
So Talrin Sky Summoner is the Drake guy. So I'll put the pictures up, guys. What you want to do, I guess, with this deck is create a bunch of shitty little 1/1 tokens.
Trade them.
And then just trade them out. You
want permanent, so you can even take their lands.
Yeah, you can swap lands, you can swap artifacts. So basically anything...
It's a non-land you control and a target permanent and opponent control.
But it has to share a type. So artifact for artifact, enchantment for enchantment. The other thing is, like, you can put detrimental enchantments on yourself and then trade them off.
So you can just exchange any type of creatures then.
Yeah, the creatures was the big one I was thinking of, because it's like you can pump a lot of little creatures and then...
And it's not till end of turn, or it's just...
Stays. It just stays.
Yeah.
So the great thing about this is blue has all the abilities to tap and untap. Yeah. So that's going to allow you to do this multiple times a turn, which is really where it comes into its own. And that's where it becomes like a lot of fun, because like all of a sudden your friend's army of, serpents or whatever like that, all of a sudden, if you can tap and untap 4 or 5 turns, or once per turn, 4 or 5 times per turn, then all of a sudden he's got 5 birds.
Take all the soul rings. Trade the arcane signals for soul rings.
Well, even if you're making like treasures, you can swap a treasure for a soul ring, or
no, you can't sack it in anything. But yeah,
so
a good idea.
There's kind of a lot of fun there.
Very cool.
That you could have. He's a cool little guy that would really kind of splash some chaos into some decks. Under $1, we've got Slaughter the Strong. I think this is one of the best. 1 and a white. Board wipes? One of the best board wipes.
Okay.
Sorcery.
3 mana.
Each player chooses any number of creatures he or she controls with power 4 or greater, 4 or less, and then sacrifices all other creatures.
Okay.
So
that's a lot.
Yeah, any like go wide strategy is going to benefit from this dramatically. Any kind of like if you're playing wizards or merfolk that are naturally kind of smaller, even if they're not go wide, you're going to essentially leave your own board intact while eliminating a number of other threats. It costs 3. I think the only downfall here is its sorcery speed. Yeah. If it was instant, it would be nice, but there's ways around that even, I guess, if you wanted to get technical. But yeah, I think this is a great board wipe. Under $1 at the moment. It's usually not under $1, but I think with the recent reprints at the moment it is. So for less than $1, I think it's a pretty solid add to most decks. What do we got, Nick? We got our segment, our weekly topic.
Weekly, bi-weekly, next topic of the week. Yeah, we're moving into some deck building. So
we've kind of talked. I've kind of wanted to stage this in a particular way. So we've talked about like why we play casual, why we play budget. We've talked about why we do points, etc., etc. And now I wanted to talk about like why in relation to all them things, how we like to build our decks and what kind of themes and stuff like that we would like to work around. So first and foremost, guys,
we are not deck builders. But we are not good at this game.
No. So Command Zone has 2 really great podcasts / YouTube episodes on this that go into the numbers. I think they have data from over 2,000 games.
We've been talking about it a lot, and we've been looking at those numbers, but then again, our group doesn't follow those numbers. So it's like it's kind of a weird thing they've kind of said where it's like you got to have this many board wipes, this many. Yeah, but if everyone at the table's doing that, you're gonna have this meta that they've created, and then it's kind of funky because if you do that when your group already has kind of this meta that you can't really distinguish, you're gonna have this deck that is kind of weird, and you're removing a lot of things, but no one else is gonna have removal.
That's a big thing where it's like I built decks to their format exactly, and then I'm the only one removing things off the table, and I'm wasting turns removing 3 players worth of threats rather than playing my own stuff. Your table might be the opposite, where everyone plays heavy removal, and then all of a sudden you're kind of undergunned because you don't have the responses.
We're not going to go into the specifics about like how many of X. I think that's up to you and up to your table. You need to kind of pull that for yourself,
and like start with the Command Zone videos because
it'll give you a good idea of what to do.
I think they're
mana based. I think
mana based, ramp based, card draw. Them 3 things alone, I think, should be heavily listened to or taken on board. As for single target removal and
board wipes and all that kind of stuff,
that's kind of situational. Absolutely,
they kind of like the way they describe it's like you need this many. It's like but that's for the people you're playing with.
If your table doesn't play Battlecruiser at all, you almost never need board wipes. Because there's never usually that many threats, I guess, or they're very specific combo pieces which can be done with singles. So, so what we wanted to talk about is we wanted to talk more about like how to make decks for yourself, how to make them fun and unique, how to make decks that kind of fit your table a little bit more or fit your personality or your play style. Whereas the Command Zone one is a very specific, like you should aim for this many of this kind of card. This will be much more of a like, how do you want to approach it and what do you think's important? So I think to begin with, like you should always ask yourself what you want the deck to do and how you want it to play. Yeah. And that a lot of the time will come down to the commander you pick. But
what kind of mechanics are you putting in?
Yeah.
You're going to have enough of those pieces of mechanics to do what it wants.
Yeah. Is the mechanic going to work well with the colors?
Yeah.
Like if you've got black and red, 1/1 counters is not going to be an optimal strategy for them colors. Like you probably will want to rethink your approach.
And I'll also say before we get into the minutiae of things is that like Magic is very much optimization, synergy.
Yeah.
If you're doing Death Touch, you're going to need this in your deck. If you're doing Draw, you want this in your deck. If you're doing Monarch, you'll need these. Just remember, Magic is still a game, and you should be able to self-express yourself in your deck. Yes. Self-expression should still be a part of what you want to do. So you might want to think about throwing some of the best picks for more picks that kind of allow you to express yourself within the deck.
Yeah. That's a great point because like there's definitely some mechanics, like Inspired is a great example of this, where there's literally out of the 5 colors, because it only existed in like one set, there's like 12 cards that have Inspired. So building a deck around that is going to be incredibly difficult to do. It's a fun mechanic, but you're going to probably want to focus on other things at that point. But yeah, so how do you, once you've worked out what you want the deck to do, how are you going to do it and what cards are going to help you achieve that? Yeah. Which I think you were kind of heading towards, definitely. You kind of want to really narrow down a good percentage of your card base. Once again, we talked about this with Tribal, where the command zone is like 10 to 15 cards. That's 10% of your deck to 15% of your deck. Yeah. If it's 15% of your deck and you start with 7, like you're gonna see 1 card a game, maybe or 2 if you're lucky.
It's not enough for me. I like
it's not enough. A bit more. So yeah, if you've picked a theme, you should try and go all in.
How prevalent you want that theme to be should reflect, like, just because it says X doesn't mean it has to be X, really. Yeah.
So definitely, like, if you kind of want, like, and the other side of that is like, how do you want it, like, when you've picked your strategy, let's say you pick aggro, how are you going to achieve that? I have a big issue where I'm like, I'm going aggro and I'm doing this and this and this, and then like when I play it, it rarely does what I actually want it to do. So
another point, which is testing decks.
None
of my decks aren't ready to. They're not at their most optimal till like maybe 3, 4, 5 games in after I've got all the extra cards I need.
I'd say like the first 10 games I play, I will tweak.
Yeah, it
maybe
shouldn't be
10 cards.
It's not going to be perfect right in front of the gate. You're going to you'll have a stage where you're holding cards. And it'll be your 4th time playing the game, and you're like, God damn it, I have this card in my hand again. And you'll know that's the card to get rid of.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or like, this isn't helping, time to boot it.
Yeah. The other big thing is once you've picked a style or what you want to do, trying to get a commander. There's always the whole like cart before the horse scenario where it's like, do you just pick the commander and then build around the commander, or do you
pick your decks first, or do you pick your commander first?
I'd honestly say like 50-50.
Okay.
Like sometimes there's like Chilean's a great example where it's like, I want to build a deck around Chilean that works. I've tried a number of times. It barely ever works. And then I end up breaking it apart.
You're going to eat you up on the boards for that.
I know. I've seen
How have you struggled to build a Chilean deck?
Because I don't have $800. There's definitely decks I've built, like the shiny deck that I just built. I built because of Daggett.
Yeah.
So it was all built around that commander. Yeah. So there absolutely is decks that I've done. What about you? I know you've done Magda. I know you've done Eurocode.
Almost all my decks are built around
okay.
So I choose my commander first.
Yep.
And then from that, I choose which aspect I want to take the commander, and I just choose the deck around that.
Okay, nice. Okay. Okay, so then, once you've got your commander sorted, I think one of the biggest things, and we've touched on this a little bit in the past before, and I think you might have just touched on it briefly again, but identify what your weaknesses are going to be with your preferred strategy, and try and I eliminate them as a weakness. So battle cruiser and aggro decks, you're going to be prone to removal. So either run counters or run eerie interlude or run something that can bounce your creatures.
So from experience, exactly, I have the dwarf deck, so the meander deck. If you get rid of the dwarves, I can't do anything. I can't make treasures, and I can't do that. So I have packed the deck with as many red counters as possible. It's not many. It's Tybalt's Trickery,
it still saves you.
The other one. And usually you always hear they're terrible cards for casual. They're trash cards for casual. They're amazing cards for EDH. They've saved me because usually someone always has blue in their thing that's removing my stuff, and it's enough to destroy it. It's just to protect
I've had you counter me twice in one turn.
I used all my counters I had.
I was so angry.
For red, I did Tybalt's Trickery, which is... Tybalt's Trickery is perfect in that deck. I don't care what you put out. I don't care what you put out because you're
still going to win.
Going for the flying overhead.
Actually, that's just quickly. Why haven't you played that this season?
The red?
Yeah. You had a really good win rate. It was a solid deck. We had a hard time.
Again, it's because it's a tutor. It's a tutor.
So?
It gets boring.
You get your points, though.
Yeah, it's kind of boring, though, because it's like you're just pulling out the same stuff. And at least every week you're putting in new things to pull out to see.
Yeah, okay.
But still, I should probably... I think I'm going to keep it as like a finale. I bring it out in the finale.
Oh, okay, cool.
Because it's strong, so it's like, bring it out in the finale.
Nice.
And also people start to realise what to do is just kill the dwarves.
Yeah. It's like... that's like the other night, though. Sometimes it's hard to do that. Sometimes no one has them answers, so... okay, so once you've identified your threats and you've identified...
Spider!
Classic
Australia, you got a giant spider walking on the ground.
There was a fucking huge one in the house the other night, dude. I had to get out. Like, the girls were just freaking out. Put him in a little cup, dude. I took him outside. They're good, the spiders. So once you've identified your threats and you've worked out how to protect yourself, the next big question is how do you compete against your table and the decks that other people are playing? And this is, I think, my biggest problem at the moment, where it's like the variety of decks at the table.
It's almost impossible to kind of predict what you're going to be playing up against.
And I feel a lot of the time I'm picking decks that are just like outpicked in a sense. Like there's other decks at the table that are just like repressing or oppressing what I'm trying to do dramatically. So if you've got a pretty set table that you play against and they're kind of set in their ways, or they play in particular styles, try and identify the strengths and weaknesses of that style and protect yourself from that. Like if guys, like we talked about before, if they're playing heavier removal, be prepared for stuff like that. If they're playing a lot of counter spells, bait the counter spells out with shit stuff first. Have some fodder that you can kind of throw out there to bait the counter spells, and then try and get around it like that. So, a lot of it will come down to your table ultimately when it comes to deck building. So, that's definitely something to keep in mind.
How can you compete against the other typical gameplay styles? So, how they're building their decks, how's your deck going to go against that?
How is your, like, if you're running this is a great example where it's like, I've got my counter deck, but I can't compete against aggro. Because I'm dead before I can set up all the pieces I need to really start. So, in 4-player, it's a little bit more forgiving because hopefully someone else is a threat and they're getting swung at. But, this is like if you got Battle Cruiser, how are you going to stand up against Battle Cruiser? How are you going to stand up against like your mid-range control? How are you going to stand up against your combo style decks? Try and kind of think about what you need to disassemble the other decks and ensure yourself
you could have an idea of how your deck's doing. Now take that down 30% when your pieces are getting removed. When you're getting countered, and then think about when your deck's like not going to be running at full capacity, how's it going to be able to rebuild?
Or even like take let's say you've got everything hinges. This is a great example where the deck I built recently, the Chilean one, has Simic Ascendancy. And it's like, if I can get Simic Ascendancy out,
you almost
it's
won.
a great chance.
So close to winning.
Yeah, and like, it's very easy to achieve that victory game after game after game with that deck, like from the cards that are in there. But as soon as that's gone, I'm in a lot of trouble. Like, I don't have many other conditions where I can win. So that's a great example of that, where I need other things in there to stop that from happening. So yeah, there's some of the things I think we are kind of overlooked maybe in the deck building process.
Just kind of little minutiae things. Also, like, what program are you guys using to build decks?
Yeah, I'm a huge Scryfall fanboy.
Moxfield guy.
Yeah, the advanced search. I know I always talk about it, but the advanced search on Scryfall is so good.
I even use that thing. I've tried to use it. It's like,
good.
What the hell?
It's once you get the hang of it, dude. It's like you can be so specific.
Yeah.
And it's just with editing the games. Like, Fabian played a card called Flux. He said a different word when he played it. Yeah. So all I had was like, because the camera quality is not good enough to read the card, and you can't see the art clearly. So I'm like, he read out half the text on the card, and I typed them words into Scryfall, and boom, there was the card. So like, that's how good it is. Yeah. Like, if you just know even a line of text, you can find the right card. Cool. Like, it's incredible.
I like Moxfield just for the stats down the bottom, which is really nice.
I honestly say that's the one thing that Scryfall doesn't have.
It's just stats.
It's the stats on your deck, your land drops, and maybe it's there in an option menu or something that we haven't found. I don't know.
But also you can literally playtest your deck as well.
Correct.
Which you can test your hands out.
Yeah,
that's a decent thing as well. Testing your hands out.
Yeah, dry drawing.
Dry drawing.
Yeah, absolutely. Hit us up as well if you've got other. Yeah, fun. I know there's quite a few deck builders out there that we just aren't across.
Yeah, I've tried a few. Scryfall I used for a while, then I'll move it over to Moxfield.
Yeah. But yeah, cool. All right, let's head on to back to Italy.
Mastering Machiavelli.
So with today, we've got kind of going into the deck building thing along the same theme. A lion cannot protect himself from traps, and the fox cannot defend himself from wolves. One must therefore be a fox to recognize the traps, and a lion to frighten the wolves. Mm-hmm. Which is the whole thing of like, you need to have the strength to kind of come through the victory. You need to, but you also need to be able to identify the weaknesses and the threats that are out there and stuff like that. So, it's a nice approach everything from 2 or 3 different angles if you can. Don't just be a bull at a gate. Be all the animals. Pick several animals. Be them all at once.
I like that. Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, it's a fun way of thinking about it.
Yeah.
All right. Good, the bad, the ugly, Nick. We're on to our final segment.
Final segment of the week.
We have
Silent Gravestone artifact for 1. Cards in graveyards cannot be the triggers of spells or ability. Pay 4, tap Silent Gravestone, exile Silent Gravestone and all cards from all graveyards, and then draw a card. So exile all cards for 4, and then draw a card. So I like it. It's really good. It's good if you got a lot of graveyard recursion. You're playing against. People keep screwing around with the graveyard.
The whole cards in graveyards can't be the target of spells or abilities.
It's great.
For 1 is pretty intense, because that's just stops so many strategies straight away. I like Ground Seal. I think is another card that does the same kind of thing, and I think there might be
the Magistrate guy, I believe.
Draenith Magistrate.
Is that Library or something? He kind of stops. Sure. He stops the spells from being cast from somewhere.
We'd have to double check that one. But the Silent Gravestone is one of them cards where it's just in against the right opponents, it can be super crippling to them, and ultimately, it's an easy way to eliminate some threats, essentially. So it's a really good card. Mm-hmm. Same deal, under $1, I think. Super cheap. Yeah. Super unused. I've never seen it before looking for them. So that was a fun one. What do we got for this is my pick for bad. Nick
we were talking a little,
doesn't necessarily agree with me.
I can't determine if this is good or bad. I'm on the fence. I
feel like it's one of them ones where it sounds good, but then you realise you've got to jump through too many hoops.
I just really think it should have been wolves instead of cats, but that's just...
There's forest cats, though, in Norway.
Yeah,
legitimately.
Hunting cats and stuff like that. Lynxes, what are they, lynxes?
No, these are they're almost house cat sized. They're called forest cats.
Okay.
And they're like a legitimate species that lives there.
Okay.
They're really cool, dude. They look exactly like in the art.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. So, Sengir's Chariot? Escar's Chariot?
Glad I didn't read this one out. Sorry for our Netherlands audience.
Yeah, I actually do apologize for everything I do wrong. 3 in a green, legendary artifact vehicle. This is a Kaltime card, rare, which came out kind of recently. When Sengir's Chariot enters the battlefield, create 2 green cat creature tokens. Whenever Sengir's Chariot attacks, create a token that's a copy of target token you control. Crew 4, and it's a 4/4. So the reason I say it's bad is because I have a token deck where all I want to do is create tokens, and this would be a pivotal thing in it.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking this is a good card for tokens deck, right? It's like not a doubling season, but let you put
it's
out
like
more
populate. It's essentially like populate. So this was the thing though, right? So essentially you're paying for 4 power. And it doesn't matter if it's 2/2/2 cats or the vehicle itself, it's 4 power. And then you have
you can tap those 2/2 green to power the chariot.
No, yeah, but it's still only 4 power, one way or the other.
Yeah.
So you're getting 4 for 4.
Another 2/2 from that.
Okay, but so this is the thing.
Then you have 10 power.
So this is the big kicker, right? Is by the time you've got a 4 power creature out, and you're attacking with it, the odds are someone else has a 4 power as well.
Yeah.
Which
who are you swinging this at? That's not going to kill it.
Yeah, that's one factor. And then the second factor is that you want something really good to copy. Like you want to be copying something that's at least a 6/6 or higher. Yeah. There's not a heap of tokens that are that powerful, apart from certain worms and stuff like that, or Eldrazi.
Yeah.
So it kind of becomes a little bit more limiting, where it's kind of like, okay, I can if I do this late game where I have got good big tokens on the battlefield, I'm going to lose it because it's only 4 power.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? And if I'm doing it early game, the odds are I'm only getting myself an extra 2 power or something like that on the board, and I can potentially still lose it. Because people don't have any reason not to block it. Because once it's gone, you're left with 3 cats.
Okay.
If nothing else is there. So I don't know, man. This is one where I just kind of like, I know I see some play in standard, but when it comes to Commander, I just kind of like, it has too many hoops to jump through, I guess. For it to be considered good.
I'm just so on the fence about it. It sounds great.
When I first got it, I was like, yes, this is going straight in my token deck.
Yeah, when
it's going to be great.
Copying a token, how good is that really going to be? Again, like you said, there's not like. Yeah, I have it. I think I had it in the Jared deck for like a day, and I was like, put it out.
Yeah, yeah. So this is like, I guess another example of it is this one, right? Brian's token deck does some crazy things with giant Adderphage and stuff like that.
Yeah, this almost seems completely underwhelming in that deck.
Yes.
You might just have better options.
I rest my case.
But then again...
Case closed. But yeah, I mean, you know... it does create copies.
Yeah. Enough about this shitty card.
In a compromising kind of way.
This card looks very cool. I'm a fan of Phyrexian cards. So we got Surgical Extraction for 1 Phyrexian, which can be paid... I believe it's Phyrexian.
Yeah.
It can be paid with...
a black mana or 2 life.
You're paying 2 life. You're not paying black.
It's essentially a free card.
Choose target card in the graveyard. So the text is...
really small. Bring it in.
Oh, my God. Choose target card in the graveyard other than a basic land card. Search its owner's graveyard, hand, and library for a number of cards with the same name as that card. Exile them. Then that player shuffles his own library.
Now, the ugly card isn't really about Commander.
That's a great standard card, whatever.
Yeah.
Again, I hope we get another Phyrexian set, because I'm loving these Phyrexian costs. It could really shake up the game to have more, because then you don't have to worry about, you know, mana bases as much.
I think one of the counter spells is worth a lot that has one, right? Am I thinking that right?
I believe you pay 2 life. It's a blue card, and you can counter unless they can pay 1. It's a CDH card. It's a great card. But yeah, this is in terms of ugly. Yeah, it's terrifying.
Yeah, it's not a Commander card by any means, but the art's kind of cool.
It's got like a real Predator vibe, just straight for the skull and spine,
or Mortal Kombat or something, right? Where it's just like fatality. But yeah,
well, actually, The Predator is in Mortal Kombat.
There we go.
There we go. And it all comes full circle. I think we all learned a little something today.
Oh my god. Bringing it all together.
Can you believe Rambo's in Mortal Kombat?
No, okay. I don't care for Mortal Kombat anymore then. Street Fighter is my fighting sim of choice from now on. Alright guys, I think that's it for tonight.
Alright guys.
Thanks for
better.
taking Tekken is actually better, I concur.
I do like Street Fighter a lot though. Guilty Gear is also really good. And Dragon Ball Fighters. Okay.
What about Soul Calibur?
Mortal Kombat sucks. Soul Calibur. A soul still burns.
Alright. Thanks for tuning in.
See you guys on Wednesday, 6 p.m. Australian Standard Time. Come in.
For question time.
Come chill out with us.
Hour, and then into the games.
Yeah, into the games.
And Friday nights, we stream the podcast.
Yeah.
We'll be here for questions and stuff like that. Feel free to stop in and ask us stuff.
Yeah.
Hit us up in comments.
Hit the bells,
subscribe, do all that dumb stuff. We're not going to bother you too much about it. It doesn't really count.
I got a day job. I'm not worried.
We'll catch you next week.
See you guys.
See ya.